Silly season dominoes are beginning for 2022 as Denny Hamlin has signed a multi-year extension with Gibbs Racing, and we are going to talk about the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Let's go ahead and just jump straight to it. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. We got a lot of NASCAR stories to discuss here today on the channel. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first story we're going to talk about is Fogelman, as he will be driving full-time with Young's Motorsports in 2021, driving the number 12 truck for the Camping World Truck Series season. I'm not expecting too much from Fogelman in this truck. Young's Motorsports is not one of the top-tier organizations. They're kind of a mid-pack team, if we're going to be honest. I do think he might have a shot for some top 20s and some top 15s at times. But with the Truck Series field being so competitive in 2021, it's going to be really hard for a team that's not always been at the top. I don't expect this team to do much, but it is really cool that Fogelman is going to be running full-time with the team. And good luck to Fogelman heading into the 2021 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season. On to the next story. Brian Doza is planning on running a partial schedule for FDNY Racing in 2021, driving the number 28 truck. He's returning to that team, and they are planning on running part race in 2021, and they will start at Daytona International Speedway. It is really cool that this team is coming back. I don't think they raced at all last year in 2020. It is really cool that they are going to be coming back for a part-time schedule in 2021 in the Truck Series. It's also going to help the Truck Series field. There's a lot of trucks going to be trying to qualify for this year's Daytona Truck Series race, and it's really cool that this team is going to be coming back in 2021. On to the next story, we're going to talk about the Busch Clash a little bit, as the competition yellow that they usually have for the Busch Clash is going to be back once again, as it will be on lap 15 of the 35-lap Clash. Basically, they're bringing the caution out because Chase Elliott's probably going to pull away in this event, and you know that they're probably going to have to throw the yellow to make sure they can catch the field up a little bit, because you always have a competition yellow pretty early in the race, and they're going to have that competition yellow on lap 15, which is about a third of the way through the event, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really looking forward to this Busch Clash. Basically, it's going to be a glorified test session, because this originally wasn't the plan for this race, but once they moved the Auto Club race over to Daytona Road Course event, this is going to become a glorified test session. Austin Dillon has said that, and I don't anticipate this race being good. The only possible saving grace for this event is that it's going to have low downforce, high horsepower, so it might be the only saving grace for this event. I'm really not expecting this event to be really good, and I think the race is just going to generally suck. That's just my opinion on that. On to the next story. U.S. Air Force is going to be returning to Richard Petty Motorsports to sponsor him for 2 Cup Series races in 2021. The Spring Talladega race and the Fall Bristol event. Now, here's something also very interesting to note. Worldwide Technology and STP logos are on the car. Now, those sponsors have not been announced to return to Richard Petty Motorsports, but they are expected to come back to Richard Petty Motorsports to sponsor as well. U.S. Air Force has been partnering up with Richard Petty Motorsports, I think, since around 2013, 2014 with Eric Almirola. And once again, they will be returning to sponsor Eric Jones in 2020. So the good news is that Eric Jones will have some sponsorship for 2021. But I would not be surprised if Victory Junction is going to be sponsoring for any races, because Eric Jones does not bring a lot of funding. And none of the sponsors that work with him over at Gibbs Racing are going to be coming over to sponsor Eric Jones at Richard Petty Motorsports. So hopefully they can find some more sponsors, but it is good at least that they do have some sponsors that are going to be continuing to work with them headed into 2021. On to the next story. Ryan Huff is going to be driving part-time for CMI Motorsports, which is Ray Ciccarelli's organization, in 2021, driving the number 83 truck, and the first start they will have is at Daytona International Speedway. A lot of people thought the CMI Motorsports is not going to be returning in 2021 when Ray Ciccarelli basically complained about the Confederate flag being out of NASCAR. He basically said he was going to be shutting down his team and leaving. But Ryan Huff will be driving part-time for them. Good luck to Ryan Huff in 2021. It's going to be really cool. At least there's going to be more trucks in the field once again. And good luck to Ryan Huff in 2021 in the NASCAR Truck Series. On to the next story. Cheddars Kitchen has renewed their sponsorship and has expanded its deal with Rich Dose Racing for the 2021 season. They will have more races with Cheddars Kitchen as a sponsor in 2021. Again, the races were not disclosed. They only ran a few races last year with Cheddars Kitchen, and once again, they will have sponsorship from Cheddars Kitchen in 2021. Good luck to Rich Dose Racing 2021. It's really cool that they're going to continue to sponsor RCR in 2021. On to the next story. Tyler Hill is going to be returning to Hills Motorsports for 9 races in 2021 in the Truck Series, driving the number 56 truck. The 9 races that he's going to run are Las Vegas, Kansas, Darlington, Circuit of the Americas, Charlotte, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Las Vegas once again, and then the final race it will run is at Phoenix International Speedway. I think Tyler Hill, along with Timmy Hill, is a very talented driver. Tyler Hill's got some pretty good runs with this truck last year. I mean, there were points where this team was contending for top 10s last year with the 56 team, and they're not really a top-tier organization. And it's really cool that Tyler Hill is going to be coming back. And it looks like this car is probably going to be a run at least some select race in 2020. I don't know if they're going to run full-time or not. I think they ran a lot of the races last year. Maybe they'll get Gussie and run some races this team like they did last year. We'll see what happens. But it is really cool that Tyler Hill is going to be coming back and returning to Hill Motorsports in 2021. On to the next story. Reid Sorenson is going to basically be leaving the driver duties as of right now, as he is going to be spotting for Josh Hill, who's driving the 92 Xfinity Series car. He'll be spotting for Josh Hill in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and he'll be sponsoring select Rick Ware Racing drivers in Cup this upcoming season. Now, he will drive when the opportunity is presented. It's very interesting that Reid Sorenson is not going to be driving that much next year, and that he's going to be more of a spotter going forward for this year. But like I said, he might race next year, and if he is to race next year, I think he'll end up driving for Rick Ware cars. But it is also a little disappointing Reid Sorenson is not going to race. Reid Sorenson, as a driver, had a lot of talent in the beginning of his career, but really over the last couple years especially, he's been driving for some of the slower teams. But it is at least it's cool that Reid Sorenson is going to be remaining in the NASCAR group, and it is cool that he will be at least spotting. I think Reid Sorenson, we'll see what he does, but he's another former driver that's going to be spotting, and it's really cool that Reid Sorenson will be spotting for certain drivers in 2021. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the Rolex 24 at Daytona. The Rolex 24 happened this past weekend, and in my honest opinion, this year's Rolex 24 was one of the most exciting Rolex 24s I've ever seen. I've been watching Rolex 24s since 2015, and this is my favorite one. Wayne Taylor Racing won this year's Rolex 24 at Daytona. This is their 4th win in the last 5 years, so congratulations to Wayne Taylor Racing on winning this year's Rolex 24. The 48 car that Jimmy Johnson drove ended up finishing second. Jimmy Johnson also in this event was able to lead for about an hour of the event, but the star driver of that car was Kamui Kobayashi. And I think Kamui Kobayashi is arguably the fastest driver of the DPI drivers that race, of all the drivers that race in the DPI class. Kamui Kobayashi was the fastest driver, and he was starting to catch them at the end of the race. They were only about 4 or 5 seconds back, but unfortunately they did not have enough to go out and win the race, and they were already kind of a little bit behind as well in the event because I think they had a penalty. They had an emergency stop they had to go, and they had to basically go to the back end of the DPI class about 5 or 6 hours in the event. As for the 31 Whelen Engineer Racing Cadillac for Action Express Racing, the teammate of them, which is Chase Elliott's car, they were up front early in the race. They led basically the first 2 hours of the event. But unfortunately, they had some damage early in the event, and then they had a cracked exhaust, a broken exhaust, which means they had gearbox problems, and they were stuck in third gear, and they went about 23 or 24 laps down in this event. As for the other car we're going to talk about the 01 car, the Chip Ganassi racing car, and that car cut a tire with 8 minutes to go. They actually, arguably, I think, were the best car most of the event, but unfortunately, they ended up having a cut tire with 8 minutes to go in the race, and they ended up finishing 5th overall in the event, which was a great shame because that car, I think, was really, really strong most of the day, and they were looking dominant like they used to be when they were in the DPI class. It is disappointing that they couldn't win. I was really rooting for the 01 team to catch a Wayne Taylor Racing Organization number 10, and I thought Cadillac was going to win this year, but it unfortunately did not happen. Unfortunately, they cut a tire with 8 minutes to go in the race, which was really disappointing, which was about 5 to 6 minutes to go into the event. But congratulations to Wayne Taylor Racing on winning this year's Rolex 24. A lot of excitement, a lot of great battles in the event. The 5 team was another team that was really, really fast as well in the event, but they had a contact from the 9 car. Zachary Robichan was driving the GTD class. There was some contact, then they penalized him, but I think they ended up rescinding the penalty. But once again, congratulations to Wayne Taylor Racing on winning this year's Rolex 24 Daytona. 4 of the last 5 events for this team. You can't deny it, and it's really cool that Ricky Taylor's come back to that team as well. I think this is Ricky Taylor's 2nd overall win. This is Alexander Rossi and Julio Castroneves' 1st win, and Felipe Albuquerque's 2nd win as well overall, as he won with the 5 team back in 2018. Congratulations once again to Wayne Taylor Racing on winning this year's Rolex 24 at Daytona. On to the next story. Danny Bone is going to be driving the number 48 Big Machine Records Xfinity Series car at this year's Daytona opener. Remember, since Jay Buford has never raced on a super speedway racetrack in the past, he will not be eligible to race at this year's season opener at Daytona. Because of this, Danny Bone will be taking over the number 48 car for the Daytona opener. But Jay Buford is going to run every race after that since he's raced at every other racetrack. They don't want anybody that has never raced on a super speedway before. They don't want somebody who's never raced at Daytona. They don't want any of those guys racing the event. So Danny Bone is going to be driving that car for the opener. Danny Bone, good luck to him, and hopefully he's able to get that car in the season opener for that number 48 team. On to the next story. Moneyline is going to be returning to sponsor Brad Keselowski at this year's Clash. Now, the number of races that they have not been announced at the time of how many races they're going to sponsor Brad Keselowski in 2021. But as of right now, the only race they have confirmed is a Clash. They're also expected to be sponsoring Austin Cindric as well in 2021. Now, they sponsored Joey Logano last year, but they're returning Team Penske, and they'll sponsor Brad Keselowski this year. And it's really cool that Moneyline will be working Brad Keselowski in 2021. Good luck to them. And maybe Brad Keselowski will end up winning that sponsor as well in 2020. I hope the car looks really good as well. On to the next story, we are going to talk about Emco Motorsports as, according to Dustin Albino from jski.com, they apparently are not planning on racing at all in 2021 at Daytona or any of the Truck Series races in the 2021 season. But if they are going to race at any point this year and if they decide to change their minds and come race, they will be racing in Chevys. This is going to be the first year that Emco Motorsports is not racing in the Truck Series in like 7 or 8 years. I think the last time they did not race was back in 2012. Or 2013. And the big reason I don't think they're racing at all this year is because John Nemechek is driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, and every year they've had John Nemechek race, and that's because John Nemechek brings sponsorship. But that sponsorship that John Nemechek has is going over to Kyle Busch Motorsports. So since they don't have John Nemechek this season, they're not going to be joining this year, which, again, it is disappointing that Emco Motorsports isn't driving. I'm a little bit surprised, too, because I thought that maybe they would race this year, maybe once or twice, maybe on a part-time scale with Joe Nemechek. And it's really disappointing. I guess COVID is another big reason why they're not going to be racing this year. Again, I'm just assuming things. I really don't know. It is disappointing that Emco Motorsports is not going to be racing at all in 2020. I'm a little disappointed on that, but hopefully they do come back in the near future. Again, I hope they do come back. We'll see what happens, though. On to the next story. Pitbull is going to be the Grand Marshal for this year's Daytona 500. Pitbull's being milked at this point because Pitbull's going to be a team owner. They used him last year at the championship race for the song that I believe that we will win championship song for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series on NBC. And now Pitbull is going to be the Grand Marshal for this year's Daytona 500. I think Pitbull will bring a lot of the excitement. They probably should play green light if there's a possibility, but Pitbull is going to be the Grand Marshal for this year's Daytona 500. He'll be owning a team as well as the Grand Marshal. On to the next story. We're going to go ahead and talk about Chase Elliott once again, as he is going to be racing for Chad Boat Racing's number 84 car at Bubba Raceway on February 5th and 6th. Chase Elliott there's two reasons why Chase Elliott, I think, is racing this event. One, he's trying to get more experience with the midgets because he is planning on going back to run the Chili Bowl as well. He also wants to run the Rolex 24 as well in the near future. But Chase Elliott wants to get more experience in these midget cars because he wants to come back next year and race the Chili Bowl in 2022. The other reason, he's wanting to get more experience for the NASCAR Cup Series when they go to the Bristol Dirt. So that's why he's racing once again a little bit more for this event at Bubba Raceway in the midgets. Again, I think it makes a lot of sense that Chase Elliott's racing, and the fact that he's been racing so much this offseason, I think he's going to have a major advantage when we get into the season because I think he's had arguably the most time off the NASCAR Cup Series racing in the offseason. I mean, he raced the Snowball Derby, he raced the Chili Bowl, he raced in Millbridge Park in a midget, and once again, he's going to be racing. And he's doing what Kyle Larson is. He's racing whenever he can. He's doing what Kyle Busch also did as well, racing as many cars as he can, but not the bad side of Kyle Busch. So it is really cool that Chase Elliott is going to be continuing to expand his off-season runs. And good luck to Chase Elliott. And hopefully he can go out there and win with Chad Boat Racing. They're a really fast organization in the midget cars. And good luck to Chase Elliott at this year's race at Bubba Raceway Park. Now we're getting on to the final major story of today's episode. Denny Hamlin has signed a multi-year contract extension with Joe Gibbs Racing. So once again, he is going to be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing for the next couple years. FedEx has also signed a multi-year extension as well. Now, the details of the contract really have not been announced on how long the deal and extension is, but Denny Hamlin will be going back to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2022 and continuing to race. There was a very small possibility, and I heard some very small rumors that Denny Hamlin might leave Joe Gibbs Racing and go and race for his own team. There was also that really wide open possibility that he was going to do that. But I'm honestly really not surprised that Denny Hamlin is coming back to Joe Gibbs Racing, though, because Denny Hamlin has arguably been the best driver at Joe Gibbs Racing the last 2 years, especially since working with Chris Gabehart. I'm really not surprised that he's coming back with a team. I mean, the last couple years, Denny Hamlin's won 20 races with Chris Gabehart. I mean, he won 7 last year with them and won 7 or 8 races in 2019. So really, I'm not 100% surprised that Denny Hamlin is coming back. And he's already been the best driver Joe Gibbs raced in the last years, so I'm really not surprised. But something else that really was disclosed, according to Jenna Fryer, apparently FedEx is not going to be full-time with Denny Hamlin in 2022 once his contract begins, because Denny Hamlin's contract was up at the end of this year, and FedEx's was as well. It's not full-time for Denny Hamlin with Joe Gibbs for FedEx with Joe Gibbs Racing. So I'm very intrigued to see what other sponsors are going to work with Denny Hamlin. I know Denny Hamlin has been working with Domino's for the last couple of years. I mean, he just had a big commercial, the PJ's commercial with Domino's. So I'm wondering if Domino's is going to step up with Denny Hamlin and they're going to sponsor him in 2022, 2023 regarding a contract, or if it's going to be something else like Sports Clips is going to step up and sponsor Denny Hamlin for multiple races as well. That's something we're going to have to watch and see. But as for Denny Hamlin, he's arguably a top 15, top 20 greatest driver. And you really can make the argument that Denny Hamlin is the greatest NASCAR Cup Series driver to never win a championship, along the likes of Junior Johnson, who won 50 races but never won a championship, and Mark Martin, who won in 40 or 45 races but never won a championship as well. So you really can make the argument that Denny Hamlin, is one of the greatest drivers to ever win a championship. Now, that being said, Denny Hamlin probably wants to win a championship before his career is over, and then probably once he wins that championship, he's going to go out there and, retire and basically go into owning his own team. That's something I'm really excited for, but I am really happy that Denny Hamlin's coming back. I think he absolutely deserves to come back to Joe Gibbs Racing. He's been the best driver there for a very long time. And in all honesty, I think it's really cool that Denny Hamlin is coming back. And by the way, good luck to Denny Hamlin heading into 2021. And I think Denny Hamlin this year is looking to finally win that first Cup Series championship with Chris Gabehart. And with there being a lot of races this year without practice and qualifying, I think that could be a major advantage for Denny Hamlin. Probably the races that have practice qualifying, Denny Hamlin's not going to be as big of an advantage, though he's working with one of the best crew chiefs in the business. So Denny Hamlin this upcoming season looking to try to win his first championship, as he'll be looking once again to go back to the championship 4. So anyway, that is going to be for today's NASCAR news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications so you be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links in the description below for that, and comment your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts about Denny Hamlin returning to Joe Gibbs Racing for the next couple years? Do you think he's going to do well in 2021 in the next couple years or not? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts about the Rolex 24 and Chase Elliott racing at a midget car at Bubba Raceway? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you like so YouTube can recommend more of these great videos out to you guys. If you do that, I would greatly appreciate that. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.